the lack of numbers, the COVID this year, you couldn't get any type of symmetry. And I don't think that Marcus Williamson or Marcus Hooker are necessarily, as Steve said, those aren't guys that start and win a national championship for you this year. Maybe they do next year. They need to get better there. I think everybody needs to get better. And we'll see what Seven Banks and Cam Brown can do next year. They need Legend Cavazos and Ryan Watts, those corners to step up. And what does Cameron Martinez do? Lathan Ransom, I know people have big expectations for him, but you're talking about Isaiah Simmons. I'm thinking that sounds maybe like Court Williams. What does he become? Does he become the guy that can run around and play that? The 2022 class has they've already got commitments from guys like that who can play outside linebacker and also drift back, but that's a long way off. We'll talk about them in like 2023. But that's the frustrating thing when you're saying you need a guy like Isaiah Simmons, and yet Ohio State played two more linebackers than a 4-2-5, and none of them are like Isaiah Simmons. And it's just a bad matchup, and shows, as I said, how little faith they had in the secondary. And I guess hard to have faith next year with the same group. That's why you have to look outside of that, I think.
Well, I was just going to say, you need to win your position, not get it by default. And I think there was a lot of that. I think it was just, all right, well, we got a bunch of kids, and then we have these guys, and, well, we're going to have to go with these guys or whatever. And that's not an indictment on any of them. And anybody at Buckeye Grove knows that I'm very hesitant to sit there and, if a kid screws up, but I'm not going to jump down his throat or anything. Leave that to the posters who will do that. But I think that you're going to need to see, Cameron Martinez, Ryan Watts, Legend Cavazos all step up at corner. You're going to need to see Bryson Shaw and Lathan Ransom and Ronnie Hickman and maybe the incoming guys. I think if we have a true spring practice this year, if we have a true summer off-season workouts and we have a true fall camp, you're going to have a chance for these guys to get the instruction. I think you're going to have a chance for younger guys to step into these roles, because with the way that 2020 was set up, it really just felt that at positions where they weren't exactly sure what they were going to go to, it just went to the older guy just because they've been in the system. They are a little bit more physically developed and maybe weren't necessarily the best option.
Well, and Ryan Day said it after the game. It's nice to have ideas, but you have to be able to execute them. And really, I guess the only ideas they could execute were the ones that we saw, and that clearly wasn't enough.